Nursery, I thought we might do some phonics games. So parents, in nursery, we start to teach the children about phonics, which is the precursor to learning to read and write. We do what we call phase one, so this involves lots of different things. So it can be lots of clapping games, so they get used to the rhythm. It can be segmenting words, so we start to say to them, go on, put on your hat. So we start to talk about letters and sounds, but we also talk about environmental sounds. So sometimes we might go on a sound walk outside, and it helps children to distinguish different sounds and also to develop their language by talking about them. So I'm going to play you a sound and see if you can tell what it is, and then use as many words as possible to describe that sound. Right, let's do the first one. What could you hear? I think it sounded like tapping, but was it a slow tapping? Was it a fast tapping? Was it a really heavy banging tapping, or was it a light tapping or something in the middle? What do you think they were tapping on? Was it metal? Was it wooden? What do you think they were tapping on? I think it was a wooden door. Should we hear the next one? It was a wooden door. Okay, next sound. Okay, I think that's going to be quite straightforward for most of you. It was a dog barking. Why do you think he was barking? Did he sound like he was really cross, or was it a different sort of bark? Now, it might be quite difficult if you haven't had a dog before. I think he was barking to say, I want to go for a walk. So if dogs really bark, if they're cross, it's sometimes a bit crazier, like, wow, 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 wow. But I think he just said, take me for a walk, or I want my dinner. Should we hear another one? Yeah, it's quite a calm bark, I think. Right, next sound. Who is making that sound? It is a horse. So what do we call it? What sort of horse noise does a horse make? That could be called a neigh, or it could be called a whinny as well. And it sounds to me like that horse has maybe seen his owner coming across the field and is calling to them, or maybe he's calling to his friend. But that was a whinny. It's quite a long sound, wasn't it? Quite a long, drawn-out sound. Okay, next sound. See, we weren't sure about that one. What do you think it was? It was actually a lion. What was he doing? He was roaring, he was snarling, almost sounded like a growl as well. But again, it wasn't as loud as I've ever heard a lion, but it was a definite sort of... See if you can make that sound. Okay, next sound. Okay, that's quite... I think that's what I'd call a high-pitched sound. It was kind of squeaky, it was quite high-pitched, it was quite a fast sound. And actually, you may have had this sound and heard this sound around bath time. It was a rubber duck. Let's listen. Or a squeaky ball it sounds like, but it's a rubber duck. Oh, what was that one? Let's listen. This one's really quiet. Now I can hear two sounds there. There's a first bit and then there's a second bit. Do you know what it is? It is the dropping of a coin. And the first bit sounds like it drops down, hits the floor, and then the second bit, I think I can hear it twirling around. So hits the floor, twirls around. See if you can find a coin and drop it onto maybe different surfaces, like a wooden floor or a carpet. See what sound it makes then. Or maybe outside on the pavement. See if you can borrow a coin from Mum and Dad. Let's listen. It was a coin. I think that was the last of it. Next sound. What was that one? It was kind of a grunting. Sounded quite like a happy sound, I think. And it was one of my favourite animals. It was a pig. It was a pig. And they sounded quite happy. I think that's the sort of sound they might make when maybe they've just finished their food and they've found a nice bit of mud to roll in. I think it was a happy sound of a pig. So it was, what would you call a pig sound? Snorting? Oinking? It sounds like a bit like a dog. Next sound. Now, it took me a bit of time to get this one. What do you think it was? Sounded like some sort of tapping, but I think it was quite gentle tapping. It wasn't super hard tapping or banging. It was a hammer hammering in some nails. Sounds a bit like when we play with tap tap at nursery and you're tapping in the shapes using those little hammers. Right, next sound. Okay, that is a lovely sound and one we've probably missed a little bit over the last year. What was that sound? It was the sound of waves. But what sort of waves? Were they big crashing waves like in a storm, or were they quite gentle waves? What do you think? I think I could hear quite gentle waves breaking. So when the waves go over and they break, and then all the foam comes, after that, I think I could hear the sea going back out, the water going back out. Let's hear. Let me try. That was right. Can't replay that one, but that's what I think I could hear. You can replay it though, because you can listen to this again. Right, next sound. You know what that one is? Something we talk a lot about at nursery. It was the sound of water gurgling going down the toilet. It was the flushing of the toilet. Something we have to remember. Let's listen. It's not going to let it play again. Sometimes it lets me play twice and sometimes it doesn't. So those are all the sounds. But see if you can go out for a walk and see what you can hear. And then once you think you know what the sound is, see how many words you can use to really describe that noise. Was it a gentle noise? Was it very loud? Was it quiet? Was it repetitive? Think of as many words as you can to describe that. And then let me know how you got on. And you can always ask Mummy and Daddy. There's lots of things that you can Google, lots of different sounds. If you just Google environmental sounds for phonics, you will find lots more. Okay? All right, see you soon.